Welcome to How Preschool Teachers Do It.
This is Alison Kentos. I am an early childhood educator.
And this is Cindy Tarabush. I am an early childhood consultant.
This podcast is for parents and early childhood professionals.
Let our experience and research-based knowledge become your guide.
Hey, preschool peeps.
Hi, peeps.
We're going to talk about that thing that strikes fear in the hearts of some people, and it's artificial intelligence. Yes. Allison is pointing to herself. She has like a fear of it. Yeah. Artificial intelligence or AI software is a hot topic right now. As somebody who teaches college classes, I can tell you it's a hot topic there. It's also becoming a hot topic in early education, not from the fear point of view, but from the what can this do for me point of view. And they're discovering different ways that artificial intelligence can actually enhance the work we do rather than replace the work we do.
Yeah, because I think that's part of the fear is that it's going to replace teachers as human beings. And when you sent me that article, I read it, and there was some really cool things in there that I, as a teacher, can't necessarily do, which is cool. So it would enhance stuff that I'm already doing. So that's pretty cool.
I think that we have to, it's like any other tool. I think most tools can be used for good and can be used for things that are not so good. Yeah. You can use a hammer to build a house, or you can use a hammer to harm another human being.
True.
You can, right? You can use the internet to do research, to write emails and reach out to people, to have Zoom meetings and see people, or you can use the internet for ways that are a little more unsavory. I think it's just like anything else. You decide, how is this going to be used? And as somebody who teaches college courses in which students may try to use artificial intelligence to do things like write their papers, I can tell you it doesn't work. And it doesn't work because as it stands right now, the artificial intelligence does not insert any humanity. So if we're going to look at early education as requiring social interaction, that human touch, AI can't do that. Yeah. But it can do some things that are super interesting.
Yeah.
Which of all the things you and I researched and read, Allison, which stood out to you?
I thought it was really cool that it could watch how children move and then create an entire playground system for that particular movement. Right. So like if you have a child who say has a disability, or even if your child just moves in a certain way, it could watch for a while. It'll assess what they need in this playground equipment and then create the playground based on that movement and how that child moves and how to get them to the next level of movement too. Like it wasn't just like, here's where he's at, here's how we're going to do the playground. It was like, how do we get him now to move one step further, like to take that next step? It was like, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And that was cool. And like, I've never really thought of how they created playgrounds before, like that. And if that's the way it'll be created in the future, imagine the playgrounds that we have. I know, like when at my last school, there was a playground that was specifically made for children that use wheelchairs and stuff, so they could still go on the swings. So I think like this would take it like one step further, I think, which it would really make the playgrounds more adaptive to all children, and how children move, which I thought was awesome.
That is. So they would have looked at me through some video maybe or something and said, this girl is a klutz. We need to give her this, and this on this playground. And it could make recommendations maybe to the program saying, here's something you can add to help this girl.
Help this girl. She needs some help.
And maybe if I had gotten that help, I wouldn't continue to be a little clumsy and klutzy.
Correct. So, but I feel like that's something that like maybe we as humans don't assess the movements the way maybe an AI program could, or maybe when we do assess it, we don't connect it to like, how do you create a playground in order to get them to go to the next level in their movement, and also like stay within the level so they don't get injured. It's not going to be too much or too little. Like I don't know any playground creators. I don't know if that's what they do, but I imagine like this would just make it so much easier to do that.
I don't know. I think it's interesting that it can watch like that. I have a colleague who runs an early childhood center, and they do have this thing. I guess I could say what it is. I guess I could say the name brand. It's called a hatch table, and the children use it. It is technology. It's a piece of technology. The children use it to do educational activities, and it does, I believe, give reports having to do with their social interaction and things like that. So that might be sort of similar. I don't know that they consider it maybe they do consider it artificial intelligence. I don't know. There are tools out there already that will observe and let you know things about what the children are doing, but I think that this takes it to a different level. I was very struck by when it was saying that it could help to automate routines that take up teachers' time that maybe they don't need to spend so much time on. And it kind of reminds me of like in the beginning of the school year or before a school year starts, and you have to figure out your daily schedule, and you have to figure out how are we dividing things up, and how are we dividing up responsibilities among the adults, and all that's artificial intelligence can do that sort of thing for you. I use a software. Again, I think it's considered artificial intelligence. I have many different aspects to my career, and I have many different tasks. I'm always like, there are so many things that always need to be done. And so that nothing falls through the cracks, I use this task scheduling software that actually moves tasks around my solidified appointments. And when I complete a task, let's say I complete a task early, the calendar will update and it'll give me the next task that needs to be done. So I understand somewhat how that works because I've done it myself. And it can also, the artificial intelligence can also write things for you. Here's another thing I've done myself on my website. It's my business website, which is helpingkidsachieve.com. If you all preschool peeps go to the bio, that bio was written by artificial intelligence. And it was amazing. It was way better than any bio I have ever provided for myself.
See, now that's pretty amazing. See, I think like that part of this article you sent was also pretty cool too, how it can write like things for you. Like it can write these bios for you. Like you got back to school night coming up. Boom, there's your stuff. Okay. And that's all those tedious things that teachers don't always have time to do on top of all the other stuff that they have to do, So let the AI write that for you. I think it was amazing that it could write IEPs too for you based on the assessments that they are having with the children. And I thought, wow, that's amazing too, because it would be so personalized, which is amazing, so like it could take some of these tasks off our hands a little bit. And like you said, like your bio was better than anyone that you could write, so why not let the AI do things like that? You got a report that you need, you got a newsletter that you need, you got back to school night, you got a presentation to give. Let them do it. Take it off your plate, let that happen.
Even thinking about planning, to say, I wonder if I have any, or I wonder if there are any books that the children would enjoy on this topic. If you go into software, artificial intelligence software, and you say, name books on this topic for children ages, whatever to whatever, it'll list them for you instantaneously.
Which is amazing, because I do that, but I just do it through the internet. I just Google. I will Google books for preschoolers about leaves. Boom. And then they all come up, so if this is like more of a more detailed list, maybe that would be kind of awesome.
I think it is. I think you can probably say to it, it wouldn't surprise me if you could say to it to list books with descriptions. Or, awesome. Something like that. I think it can do that, so that you're not then going into individual websites or trying to hunt it down or find it. It puts it all in one place.
That's cool. Because I kind of do that already, but just using the internet, or sometimes my library website. But then I have to click on each book and be like, is this something that the children would enjoy? Is this, it says it's 3 to 5, but is it maybe a bit too above their heads? Is how many, So maybe if AI could streamline that process, that would make lesson planning for me much easier.
They probably
You know?
already have. I'm sure
Yeah,
it
they
already.
probably have it already, and I don't know how to
Yeah.
use it because I am not a tech person, which is why this is scary to me.
You have to
You
go
know?
into some of this software and just play around with it, Allison. You
Yeah,
would be
yeah,
amazed. If
yeah.
you go into Chat GPT, it's amazing. You can just, you go in, it's free. You type in
Yeah.
whatever you want and it spits it out in detail.
Oh, that's cool.
Right. College students, high school students, they can use it for things like ideas for what they're going to
Yeah.
write, but then they have to back up their writing from scholarly resources. So you can't, something like Chat GPT is not a scholarly resource. You can't use a resource that looked at other resources. And that's what the
Right.
software does. It's
Yeah.
almost like the next step of Googling, I guess.
Yeah, because that's kind of how, like when you said it could look up books for you, I'm like, well, I already look up books, but I just Google them. So it's like Google, but beyond, like Google beyond,
Right.
you know?
Right. It is like it is similar in some ways, but no.
Yeah.
Definitely a step above. If you all have never done it, I really, really encourage you to do that. I mean,
Yeah,
when
no,
I
I
did
might
when I
actually
did my
try it.
bio,
Yeah.
all I did was I went into Chat GPT. And by the way, I didn't come up with this on my own. One of my sons told me to try it
Well,
because
yeah, of course.
they're using it. He works in the field of design, and
Yeah.
they're using it to research things and for ideas, and then they
Excellent.
design.
Yeah.
So he said, you have to check this out, Mom. You have to see what kind of bio it would write for you or whatever. So I typed in, write a bio for Cindy Tarabush, author of the book, and co-host of the podcast. And I put the titles in, and it wrote a beautiful bio, because what it does is it basically does Google for things, it researches in a split second. It researches in a split second.
That's
amazing. And then it just,
yeah.
So in some of the articles that we've read, we put that it says that there are AI powered monitoring systems, like you mentioned, that can collect data about children. It can analyze children's body language and facial expressions to determine levels of engagement or disengagement, which can help to teach us about what's engaging the children and what we should do more of.
Yeah.
It can track their motor skills. It can write communication pieces for you. And it's so scary to sit in front of a blank screen or a blank piece of paper and go, all right, I have to write a letter to families. This thing can at least give you some ideas, even if you don't take it word for word.
Right.
Always remember that it doesn't insert your humanity. You're going to have to take what it update it. It's not the final say anyway, because you want your humanity to show through.
Oh yeah.
Any kind of piece like that where you're communicating.
Yeah.
Let's see. It says, let's see. Could be used to create professional development for people based on their current knowledge. And then of course,
I would love that. I would love that, because then I think it would personalize professional development. Like if you're saying it'll go based on what I already know, how helpful would that be? Because as a teacher, I sit in workshops and professional developments all the time. They're like, hi, I already know this.
Yes.
Oh, but you're required to stay here. Okay. And I'm one that I don't like my time being wasted. So and I'm one that also loves to learn new things. So then when I'm in a workshop that I could have been helpful of, like, oh, she already knows this, let's go to the next step that she doesn't know yet, and then now I'm learning things, stuff that I can use in the classroom or professionally, right? It's not repeating things that I've already learned in another class or in college or elsewhere, or maybe I already took a workshop that was similar. I like that, because it could really make you a professional development plan for you as a teacher, which I think is cool.
I think the worst thing that we can do in early education is to pretend that artificial intelligence doesn't exist because maybe we're scared of it. Yeah. I think instead we need to teach the world how we need to use it.
Yes.
And we need to stand up for ourselves in that way and say, hey, I'm the professional. Here's how I think it's useful. I'm going to use it that way. I'm not going to ignore it. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't exist. Here are some ways that our program could use it that would really help children and families. even think about what families could gain from it. If we said to
Yeah.
families, hey, here's some skills that we're looking to support for your children, and you could go into this software and it will tell you exactly what to do
Yeah.
in a home
That would be
environment,
cool.
right?
That would be cool. Yeah.
It for me anyway, it's here to stay, just like everything else. I remember years ago when we first started to get the personal computers and people and screens in our classrooms, and people, including me, were saying things like, well, the children don't need to use technology in our early childhood settings because they use them at home all the time, and we're not going to have that in our program. But the truth is now very different.
Yeah.
There are standards from the states about what children need to know and have experienced using technology in early childhood. We now understand how it can be a valuable tool for research and creativity with young children. And again, it can be used in good ways or not so good ways.
Right. That's true. That's
Right.
true. Because I remember when they started putting like the computers in the classroom, and it was very much like, oh, like they're just going to be watching a screen the whole time. I remember that. And you just have to use it the right way, and there's some really cool technology out there. Like I just got trained on this whole, it's like a smart board that flips down and turns into a table. And like I mean, it's some cool stuff coming down the pipeline here that we should teach these children how to use it, because their life is going to have it in them. Like there is no, like if you ignore it, like, because I've worked for programs also, they're like, no, they're not even allowed to use any technology. And it's like, okay, but the world still is. So when they then get to first, second grade and they're handed an iPad and said, hi, research this, they're gonna be like, I don't know how to do that because I didn't learn that in preschool or in early childhood. And like at least teach them how to use it in an appropriate way, like not sit them in front of it for 10 hours at a time, but like it's a good research tool, and it's going to be here forever. So
I'm just saying, I remember when we fought against and we pretend like it was going to go away, all this technology. And I don't think that that's what we need to do with artificial intelligence. We need to look at the research about how it can be beneficial to us. And we should lead the way in that rather than having it imposed on us as early educators. We need to go and say, here's how we are going to use it. Now develop more things that can do this.
Yes, because I think that's part of the scary part, is that somebody who's a big tech person is going to come in and swoop in and say, hi, I created this program. Now you're required to use it, and we're going to have no say. So I think if we start using it and say, oh, wait, yeah, that's great, but we already use that, but we use it in this way. Could you create a program like that instead? Because that's how we're using it. If we don't have any idea how it's being used or how we can implement it, we're not going to have a say at the table, when it comes down, and I think we need to at least experiment with it, which I also need to do, because I would have been like, nope, not doing it. Okay, but I'm gonna hop on this Chat GPT when we're done with here to see what it's about, because then I do have a say because I've been using it. Or I could say, oh, I did try using it. That one doesn't work for me. Maybe this one does instead.
Right.
If we don't have any knowledge about it at all, then it is going to just be imposed on us, and we're going to be kind of stuck using it however they tell us to use it. But instead we can maybe be in front of it, I guess.
I'm going into Chat GPT while we are on this. Let me see if I can get into it. Let's see. Of course, it's going to give me a hard time because we're recording and we're live. Right. Now it's going to give me, let me see if I can do it with Google. Hang on. All right. So I'm logging in with my Google account to Chat GPT. And it's like, tell me what you want. And I'm going to say, preschool daily schedule with 30-minute playground time, just as an example. Okay, so it's got arrival and greeting, 8 a.m. to 8:30, circle time, and then learning centers, and then snack time, and then outdoor play, and then story time, and then music and movement, and then lunchtime. It's got a schedule that just popped up for the whole day. And then the afternoon schedule is rest time, afternoon snack, learning activities, art and creativity, indoor play, closing circle time, and dismissal.
All right.
And you
Well,
can
that's
tell it,
easy.
some of the time frames, of course, are not appropriate or not appropriate
Right,
for you,
or-
but you
yeah.
can tell it with this much time for this much time for this, and it will arrange your schedule.
Yeah,
Or playground time from this time to this
that's
time.
cool.
If I put in, what was one of the other tasks that we said, oh, it takes people
Back
time.
to school night, back to
Back
school night.
to school night flyer for
Yeah.
families of preschoolers. It says back to school night. Join for an exciting evening of getting to know your child's preschool program. Date, time, location, you just fill it in. And then it has an
Yeah.
agenda. It's like welcome and registration, meet and greet, preschool overview, classroom tours, Q&A session, refreshments, and social time. What to expect. Gain insights into your child's daily activities and learning experiences. Learn about our teachers' curriculum and how we support your child's development. Get answers to any questions or concerns you may have. Meet fellow parents and build a supportive school community. Important information, please RSVP by. Childcare services will be available during the event. We look forward to welcoming you and your child to an exciting school year. If you have any questions or require any further information, please contact.
Already better than what I wrote for back to
I
school night, which is like, hi, back to school night's on September 19th. Hope to see you there.
This is so much
There's
better than I
mean,
think.
people showed up anyway. But I
Oh
mean,
my gosh.
but
So much
imagine how
better than
smarter
anything
I
I've
would
written.
look if I
I
used that.
Okay, so your assignment now and the rest of the preschool peeps is when this episode ends in a couple minutes or in a minute, you're going to go and embrace the future and go to ChatGPT. You can log in using, if you have like a Gmail address, you can log in using that account and just type in where it says send a message. You just type in, what do you want it to do for you?
That's amazing. And I'm totally going to do it because I have not been on this chat GPT. I was like, that's for tech teachers. That's
No,
cool.
no,
Yeah.
no, it is not.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
I'm
You
gonna
all
do
have
it.
an assignment now. Allison and the preschool peeps have
And
an
everyone
assignment.
else. Yes.
Also, if you're in doubt of how well it writes, go to my website, helpingkidsachieve.com.
Yeah.
And I mixed up the
The
podcast and my
podcast
website.
and your website.
helpingkidsachieve.com, and check out my bio, totally written by artificial intelligence.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And all of it true. And I massaged it a little. I did.
Yeah,
I took
yeah,
what
'cause
they
you
wrote
can
and I
switch things
massaged it a
around.
little.
You don't have to use it as a
Yeah.
entire block. You can take what you want out of it. And
Yeah. But it's
get
really,
rid of the
you'll
rest.
see.
Yeah,
That's all I'm going
that's
to say.
cool. Okay.
If you all have comments about this, go to our podcast website, which is howpreschoolteachersdoit.com. Send us a contact form. Go to Facebook, find our page, like our page, send us messages there. We're more than happy to hear from you all about it.
Yeah.
And we will catch you next time on the podcast, hopefully with some of your friends and colleagues who you're going to tell to come and listen.
Yes. Bye, peeps.